Neva is an action platformer developed by Nomada Studio and published by Devolver Digital. You play as Alba, a woman who is accompanied by a mystical, antlered wolf called Neva. Bonded by shared grief in a world being corrupted and consumed by dark forces, the pair embarks on a perilous journey through a landscape of decaying beauty. At the beginning of the game, Neva is a sprightly, innocent pup, running ahead of Alba to chase a kaleidoscope of butterflies or pausing in trepidation at the threshold of a particularly daunting jump. Alba must keep a watchful eye on her young companion, offering frequent encouragement, protection, and comfort. As the seasons change and Neva matures into a more independent and physically imposing creature, her role shifts from Alba's ward to her defender. This is a game about interpersonal identity, parenthood, the cycle of life and death, and the sacrifices we make for the ones we love, and it's all conveyed almost entirely without words. Gameplay consists primarily of straightforward platforming, with Alba double jumping, dashing, and climbing her way through stunning, painterly environments, occasionally encountering light puzzles. Things like adjusting a moving structure to create a route that's navigable from various heights, or crossing a series of floating blocks that are invisible save for their reflections at the top half of the screen. Nothing along the main path requires a high level of dexterity or ingenuity to overcome, but there are several optional collectibles to discover for anyone who craves more challenging platforming. Neva also incorporates simple but satisfying combat sequences in which Alba utilizes a basic attack, a downward stab, and a dodge to dispatch enemies with assistance from Neva. Once Neva grows large enough, she can also be directed to attack or trigger interactable objects from range, which is particularly useful for keeping one foe immobilized while Alba engages with another. Alba has only 3 hit points, but these each regenerate upon landing 6 consecutive blows without taking damage. With the exception of the game's final boss, the majority of enemy encounters took me between 1 and 3 attempts to complete. So while death was still a relatively frequent occurrence, the game's copious checkpoints meant that I could pick up almost immediately where I left off, without having to redo more than a trivial amount of map traversal. It's also worth noting that Neva offers a story mode difficulty setting, which removes death entirely and may be an appealing option for players who struggle with or aren't as interested in the game's combat. Alba, Neva, and the dark, spindly-limbed enemies they contend with are very clearly inspired by Studio Ghibli films such as Princess Mononoke and Spirited Away. The simple, clean character models are enhanced by satisfying animation and sound design, the swirl and snap of Alba's garments as she leaps through the air, or the controlled explosion of inky darkness that follows a flying creature thrusting its wings forward, for example. Neva also features a hauntingly beautiful soundtrack by Berlinist, the band that scored Gris, Nomada Studio's debut title. Overall, my 4-hour playthrough of Neva was a relaxed platforming adventure punctuated by enjoyable moments of action and suffused with surprisingly deep sadness and sentimentality. Although I had mixed feelings about the game's ending and would have liked to see both Alba and Neva undergo a bit more character development, I got the impression that Neva is more interested in fostering raw emotions in its players than telling a particularly nuanced story. It's the first game to make me cry since Spiritfarer, and that alone made the experience a beautiful and memorable one. Neva is available now for $19.99 on PC, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4 and 5, and Xbox Series X and S.